Lucas Doncic and Detroit Pistons Cade Cunningham are eligible to win the NBA End of the Season Awards after successful appeals. Of course, traditionally, players must feature in a minimum of 65 regular season games to be eligible, but Cunningham played 63, while Luka Doncic played 64. And Declan Rice has sent Manchester City a warning as the midfielder declares, "Bring it on," as Arsenal gets set to visit Etihad Stadium this weekend, Sunday precisely, in a Premier League title shootout. The Gunners are all pumped up after progressing to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Attention has now turned to the Premier League title as they hope to beat City at the Etihad. All they want is a really good result, a really good outing. He says they are very much aware of the times, what's at stake, and they've spoken to themselves and are all pumped up and ready. He says, well, bring on City. Bring it on, you Manchester City. So do comments like this bring, do such comments, that's bring it on, add pressure or motivation? Does it bring that extra pressure or motivation to a team like Arsenal at this material time? And ahead of their Copa del Rey final game against, Real Sociedad, Atletico de Madrid forward Ademola Lookman has expressed delight in being part of a transformative season at the club, which is also, seen them qualify for the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Yeah, and I'm hoping to get to the final for the first time since 2016 when they lost to Real Madrid, their city rivals. Of course, he only joined Atletico back in January during the winter transfer window from Atalanta Bergamo. So can Atletico de Madrid go on to win the UEFA Champions League and the Copa del Rey this very season? That's how we welcome you to Sports Lounge on your fifth dial, WAVE91.7 FM. I'm Dan, even the voice to trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Patrick The Lurker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. Judo Swag is also here. He returns this afternoon on the dial.
Good afternoon, Patrick The Lurker. Good afternoon, Port Harcourt City. It's nice being here, talking sports.
Alright, it's a great time, you guys. The show is interactive. We got the conversation up on Facebook already at 917 WAVE FM. That's at 917 WAVE FM. Find us, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let's have a ticket right here on the show. You can join the discourse via WhatsApp 070401783. It's how you get through to us via WhatsApp, and that's 070401783. We'll open up the phone lines here in a bit. We'll open up the phone lines later on here to get your thoughts on this side. So without much ado, let's get started already. And of course, we start with the NBA, where Los Angeles Lakers' Luka Doncic and Detroit Pistons' Cade Cunningham are eligible to win NBA End of Season Awards after successful appeals. Traditionally, players must feature in a minimum of about 65 regular season games to be eligible, but Cunningham played 63 and Luka Doncic 64. Doncic is 27 and Cunningham is 24. Both lost challenges to the role due to extraordinary circumstances. Cunningham missed 12 games with a collapsed lung, while Doncic missed two for the birth of his daughter in Slovenia. Both reasons were cited by the NBA as part of the exemptions. The ruling means that they are now in contention for awards including MVP and of course all NBA teams. Luka Doncic has scored about a league high 2,143 points during the regular season to help the Lakers reach the playoffs, and was recently named as the player to sell. The player to sell most shirts across Europe and the Middle East. Cunningham ranks second in the league for assists. That's about 634 assists, with the Pistons also through to the playoffs as the sixth top of the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards of Minnesota Timberwolves played 60 games but was denied his appeal to be given, allowance. Interesting times. Okay, now we move on to athletics, where World Athletics has rejected the application of 11 elite athletes to switch their nationality to Turkey. The governing body said the request was part of a coordinated recruitment strategy by the country's government to attract overseas players through lucrative contracts. The 11 athletes included 5 Kenyans, that's including former women's marathon world record holder Bridget Kosgei, and that's 4 Jamaicans, a Nigerian, Favor Philly, clearly, yeah, and a Russian, Roger Stoner, who won Olympic men's discus gold for Jamaica back in 2024, was also one of the group, yeah. Turkey failed to win any gold among its 8 medals at the 2024 Games in Paris. World Athletics said, allowing athletes to transfer their nationality would, cause great harm upon the compromise and, of the sports, yeah, and compromise the imperatives underlining the World Athletics eligibility rules and transfer of allegiance regulations. Additionally, it said the applications through a wholly owned and financial government club were part of an aim to facilitate transfers of allegiance and enabling those athletes to represent Turkey at future international competitions, including Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. The other athletes were Catherine Radin, Amanangole, Brian Kibo, Ronald Kwemoy, and of course Nelvin Dekomboy from Kenya, Jamaica's Rajindra Campbell, Jaden Hebert, and Wayne Pino, plus Nigeria's Favor Philly and Russian Sofia Yakoshina. Yeah, so well, the athletes had one for them, and for Turkey, they were trying to be smart. They were really trying to be smart right here, but I mean, the package was quite enormous. It was an enormous package, I would say, for the most part. Yeah, what was put on the table for these athletes and all.
Yeah.
And in terms of welfare and benefits and a lot, like just too good to say no. But this is where we are.
I just feel so sorry for Turkey because we know how their early preparation after the 2024 Olympics, how they didn't win any gold medal. So I think this all sums the situation where they really want to be at the toppest level by early preparation, getting some of these athletes, some of the international athletes, getting to register them to turn their allegiance to Turkey. But it's not, that's not the proper way. I think there are proper ways on how to go about this, because rejecting, you submitted a list of 11 athletes, and then the 11 of them were 12 athletes, 11 we are rejected. That's to tell you that it's just one athlete that was allowed. That's to tell you that it was not on a proper basis. The selections, the way it was being handled by the Turkish Federation, I think that was not. They are all superstars, but at least for 11 athletes who have been rejected by the FA governing body, I think it comes to serious questions. Become a serious question when you look at some of these great athletes. I've seen some of the notable names there, including the Kenyan. We saw her, what she did, and how she was able to win gold. And all of a sudden, you want to turn allegiance to Turkey. It begins to ask serious questions. Because I don't know if the Turkish Federation are really hunting for some other athletes or pitching athletes from other continents or from other nations. That's to tell you that for now, the Turkish Federation, the Turkish athletics, they don't have quality athletes to represent them. That's why they go out pitching for other athletes to represent them. I think it's a failed attempt.
The last games, the record, they won 8 medals. No gold. Yeah, so
no gold.
I mean, they are preparing for the Los Angeles Games.
Yes.
Yeah, so 2028. For the most part, the show would go down the wire. And so, I mean.
But they had more. They had more participation in the last games.
But I mean.
No gold. They picked up 3 bronze.
Yeah. So
in 12 categories. That's a power outing. Generally, it's a power outing.
Well,
3 gold, just 2 silver, no gold.
Crazy, yeah. Okay, now let's turn the focus to football, where look at features of games lined out across different centers as the NPFL hits match day 35.
One nation, one game, one goal for all.
So there are games to look forward to in the Nigeria Premier Football League as we, gradually head to the end of the campaign for 2025-2026. Just so you know, interesting fixtures to look forward to. The Bauchi Elephants Wicked Tourists will play host to Bendel Insurance. It's a lunchtime kickoff, yeah? 1 p.m. precisely. Look forward to that one on Sunday. And for Plateau United, they got Kun Khalifat FC to worry about. Yeah, 3 p.m. the time for that encounter, and action continues with Abia Warriors at exactly 4 o'clock, playing host to the Oga Boys, Ikorodu City. Yeah, of course, Ikorodu City, third on the log, yeah? So interesting times, I tell you. El Academy Warriors will also be in action. They play Shooting Stars. For the side, Mesugi, the Kano Pillars, they got a date with the Pride of Rivers, talking about Rivers United. The Shanji Boys, Katsina United will play the Prosperity Boys, and that's Bayelsa United. For Kwara United, they got the Malaya Boys, Barao FC to worry about. Nasarawa United have got to Warri Wolves to play. And for the People's Elephant, Enyimba, they'll play away to the Flying Antelopes, Senegal Rangers. It's an Oriental derby. Ready, doll? Never quite. See, find smart input on top. The game go tick, yeah? It sure will be a keenly contested affair. The last few times, the last 3 or 4 times these teams have met. Oh, goodness me. Stadium, they full to the brim, yeah? It's at the Cathedral, right there in Enugu this time around. So, Oriental Derby, looking forward to this one. And for Remo Stars, they got Niger Tornadoes to worry about. Yeah, Remo Stars against Niger Tornadoes. So, looking forward to these games on Sunday. As it stands right now, the league is absolutely competitive. Rivers United, back top on the log and all of that. Rangers second, these two teams are gunning for the title. Ikorodu City are totally not off. They are somewhat similar in the conversation, yeah, as well. When it comes to winning the MPFL this every season.
Yeah.
What's it like going into this weekend? Rivers United away to the same match together, talking about Kano Pillars. Away from home, the pair of Rivers have not really been impressive. So what's it like? Can they pick up, a decent result, a win away from home?
Well, it will be very, very, very difficult because we know Rivers United this season has not been that Rivers United we all know, especially away from home. They have been having poor results away from home. The least they could get draw is to get a draw. They have had like 6 draws already, away draws. So when you look at this fixture, I think Rivers United they have the title in their hands. They are top of the MPFA table there with 58 points. Even if we have seen a certain Enugu Rangers also joined top with them, it will be like a 3-horse race because we have seen Rivers United, we have seen Enugu Rangers, and also Ikorodu City. These are guys that can definitely, any slip from Rivers United, they will definitely leapfrog them. We know how these things work in MPFL. Away games, you must take your away games seriously, especially this time of the season. But for Rivers United, I think all fingers crossed, if they can put the house together and make sure they come all good against certain Kano Pillars, I think they can get maximum points because Kano Pillars are not on their best form, especially at home. I think if they are going by how their home forms, they are nowhere to be found. But when it comes to away, they take away games very seriously. They have won 13 games away from home this season in the MPFL. So I give them kudos for what they have been doing. But when you look at how they have been doing, I don't see Rivers United getting all maximum 3 points. I just see a draw in that particular fixture.
Wow, interesting times. We're going to see what comes out of that very one, yeah? So, what's it like for Rivers United going into that encounter away to the same Misugi, the Kano Pillars? Alright, so it's a tricky one for Rivers United, away to Kano Pillars. The Kano Bay side are hoping to get a really good result, a decent result. Currently, they are 15th on the log, after match day 34. And it's not looking all good for the side, So, but for Rivers United, they very much know what's at stake at this material time. 58 points from 34 games, 16 W's, that's wins, 10 draws and an L, and 8 L's, that's 8 defeats this season. Now, they are 2 points ahead of Enugu Rangers, the Flying Antelopes. So they're hoping Rangers as well. Rangers are also desperate to get a good result, but it's also it's a tough one for Rangers this weekend. Even though they play at home, so it's an Oriental derby against Enyimba. What's it like for